What's going on in 2020, how to find balance. And without further ado, Jasmine, can you share what you do and your beautiful coaching business?
Of course. Yes, like you said, my name is Jasmine. My friends call me Jazz. We are friends here, so you totally can call me Jazz. I am the CEO of Operation Be Well. It is a wellness consulting firm for women of color, particularly Black mothers. My vision for Operation Be Well is to impact the lives of Black mothers by transforming the superwoman stigma from like overworked, unhealthy woman who prioritizes everyone else over herself, just into a woman that is more balanced, mentally and physically secure. Um, my goal is that this creates a ripple effect onto our children and our children's children and our children's children's children, uh, essentially breaking generational curses surrounding how Black families view wellness and how we take care of ourselves. Um, I have been in business for a year. Today is actually my year anniversary. I did not tell you that before we started. My
Congrats. Yeah.
year.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
We birthed this a year ago, and the train's been rolling ever since. My journey to better wellness, if I can get into it really quickly, kind of began in the winter of 2014. And it's really been a battle since. It started as, me just recognizing that I am not well. I am not, when you look at the whole picture of wellness, your physical wellness, your mental wellness, social wellness, everything, I was just lacking in all areas. So it started as me just blogging my journey, in typical college girl fashion. I had a blog, it was super cute. And then that turned into me giving advice. And once I graduated, I got my first certification. And that's when I, took creating, this. I didn't know what it was then, but I took it a little bit more seriously. And then everything changed when I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter, Winter, who's 18 months now. So everything changed. It was like I needed to restructure everything that I taught myself the last 2.5, 3 years about what wellness was to me and what balance looked like to me. Because as you step into that role of motherhood, everything changes. So that's where we are today. Operation Be Well is here and alive, and it's been a year. It's been great.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Gosh, you had, like you said, so many good things. But one of the many things I want to discuss today is you mentioned that wellness is able to change and it's fluid. So when you initially realize, hey, I'm not well in 2014, to overcoming those obstacles and then becoming a mother and seeing how that changed. I love, and I want our listeners to really take note of that. That could be maybe one of the many takeaways today, is that your wellness changes. What works for you at one period of your life may not work for you at another time. So it's always be mindful of your mind, body, and spirit, and do like an assessment,
Yeah.
especially with 2020. I know everyone makes jokes and tries to make light of the situation, but it has been a pretty tough year, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, Jasmine, I would love to know, what have you been doing and what has worked for you and maybe what hasn't worked for you during this time?
I think it's probably better if I start with what I did in 2014
Mhm.
and then go through the changes there. In 2014, I was a junior at Old Dominion University. That's my alma mater. Yeah, whoop whoop. And just was not necessarily on the right track. I was a drinker, I was a smoker, I was a partier, but I also was a hard worker and I worked a lot. So I was super overworked, super tired, not really paying attention to my needs and my body. So when I first, took my first wellness course, I looked around the room. It was the first week of class, and we had this um, quiz that we took that kind of ranked each dimension of our wellness. And when we got the results back, I was in tears. And it's crazy because it didn't really tell me anything different about myself. But like I knew that I was overworked. I knew that I wasn't, necessarily taking care of myself. I knew that I was using and abusing um, alcohol and other drugs to try and cope with everything going on around me. But to see it on paper like that really kind of took my whole world, it rocked my world. And so I little by little started to make little changes in my schedule. I kind of prioritized things differently and let go of different things. I was doing at one point 2 internships, taking 16 or 17 course hours, working part-time at a major retail company in tech, and I was still somehow found time to party. So I kind of reprioritized a few things. I dropped a few courses to try and give myself some more time. I reformatted my schedule. I dropped an internship. So just little things, making those little tweaks within my schedule, which I thrive off of having a set schedule and something that works for me, which I think all of us do. I think we all are way better humans when we work and are following some sort of schedule that works for us. So that's what I did in the beginning. And then when I found out that I was pregnant, I had to reevaluate all of that because now you're throwing in, emotions and another human life. So I took my schedule from simply, okay, I now have all of this time for me into now incorporating another life in that. Um, then fast forward a little bit, I had my girl. She's the best thing about me. I know you guys don't have kids. You guys don't have kids, right? No. Um, Kids are amazing. Kids are crazy. It's crazy how they pick up on your habits so quickly. She's only 18 months, but she really does follow the patterns that I set for her. So I watching her pick up on my habits so quickly, like from as young as 6 months on, I knew that I had to retweak myself again and retweak my schedule and build in time for myself, build in time for things like avoiding negativity, adding mental exercises so that I can make sure that I am mentally well, exercising, period, and taking care of my body. Um, just different things like that that were super necessary for me to be able to find balance within my day to day. As 2020 rolled in, like you said, it's been a crazy year. I am still kind of learning and still figuring out what that is and what it looks like creating balance during seasons of chaos and stress. So yeah, that's where I'm
I love that answer. My gosh, I feel like we can all relate to that, to if
at.
not to some extent, all of it. um, and I want to backtrack a little bit, especially when it comes to families, African American families, and you said breaking generational curses. Mental health is something that isn't necessarily discussed if it's not discussed at all, and finding that balance. And I think it's almost like an innate, can't think of the right word. It's second nature for us to want to do 10 things at once and make sure that we're always hustling and everyone's taken care of. And then you have little to no room for yourself. And it becomes, unfortunately a generational thing. So I also want to mention that I love that your daughter picks up on those cues and you're like, wait a minute, let me take a step back and show her that I am a priority and my cup needs to be full so I can take care of her as well.
Exactly. Something that you said with Black families, it's like innate in our culture that we, you know, take care of our community and we put our all into our people. But especially as women, we do that so effortlessly and we make it look easy sometimes, but it's really not.
Mhm.
And I think for me, just practicing gratitude and being able to openly express gratitude, not only to like the things around me and to the universe and everything that is going right and wrong, but also to myself. I give myself gratitude every morning and I talk to myself, give myself that self love, and it really does make a difference.
Wow. And one more question, I'm sorry. Why do
Yeah.
you think we as women in general have this need to want to just do all these things and have this superwoman complex?
Oh, that is such a good question. The Superwoman complex was first, it's a term that it's a medical term that they gave, I think, in the 70s, where it's like an octopus and we have our hands in every pot trying to help or trying to, it's like we carry this weight to make the world better. A lot of women have it, but especially, and I can only speak for, you know, me, I'm a Black woman. So I feel like it's especially Black women that have, you know, this complex out there. Why? I think that we could go into that forever. I think that it starts back with, you know, our history, slavery. I think that we needed to do that to be able to make it through back then, at least. And I think that it carried through over the years as, you know, you watched your mom and now I watch my mom and Winter's watching me and she's picking up on these little habits. And I think that it came from slavery. We could literally talk about that forever. I don't want to get too deep into it. But that's where I think that it came from.
Wow.
Do you think like, I
Wow.
mean, I'm not Black, so I can't speak from experience of that, but I've noticed those patterns in my family even, and I think women in general, and just thinking like going way back in history and just thinking of, you know, every single country that there is, their rules, their laws, their regulations, kind of just how everything came into play. You know, women were suppressed for so long.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were always thought of, okay, well, they're the homemaker, they're like the gatherers, they're, you know, this and that. But that was almost seen as a weakness. And then finally, when, you know, we were getting rights and everything and being recognized, you're able to go out and work and be the breadwinners. And while maybe, you know, still doing like the home care and taking care of the kids and all these different things. But sorry, I just lost my train of thought. My dog was barking. Just kind of like us as a collective just rising up from that. And I think, honestly, I still think today, like, you know, we're still breaking down these barriers, saying, okay, we're here, we do all of this shit. Like, we do essentially have 8 arms going out in all these different directions. Like, we are superheroes.
Yeah.
And I don't think we get recognized enough for that
Yeah.
because we literally do everything. And I think a lot of the time, the one thing that we don't do is pay attention to ourselves and give ourselves gratitude, which, I mean, thank you for doing that for yourself, because I think that is the number one thing, because without that, in my opinion, everything else almost kind of seems, I don't want to use the word worthless, but not as,
Important. Yeah.
yeah, as important.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's the perceived obligations of women
Mm.
where, like you said, we have to be the homemaker. That's what we were at one point. Women weren't working. We were the ones at home taking care of the kids, taking care of, you know, all of the little nuances that, you know, having a home and taking care of a home. And then, you know, it's just adding on to that, like when we did get the ability to work And although we're still fighting for certain things in that aspect, it's just, again, it's those perceived obligations. And then also it's, you know, the need to always be strong, resist, you know, vulnerability sometimes, suppress your emotions sometimes. So yeah, like you said, it's, you know, just, it's not just Black women. I'm speaking from my own perspective, but you have, you know, the same exact, it's women, period. It's women.
Yeah, I think it's also important to note that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to not be an expert at everything. I know for me, I had to kind of break that limiting belief for myself, and it was tough. Where it was like I can't be the perfect daughter and lover and worker and business owner and be tough and resilient at all times. I mean, sometimes I'm an emotional wreck, and that's okay. Sometimes I'm stressed out with what's going on with 2020. It ebbs and flows. Some days I'm great, and then other days I'm like, what the heck is going on? And that's okay. Um, and I think there's a lot of strength in admitting and being real with yourself. And also, I love that you said just sharing gratitude for yourself. That's something that a lot of us don't really recognize. We're so quick to say, I'm grateful for my house and my car, but it's like, I'm grateful for this vessel and having the opportunity to do what I do. But there's strength in admitting that and just saying, hey, I'm having a rough day. I'll get back to it tomorrow, or I'm going to find the help that I need. And that's okay. I don't have to be this perfect person.
Absolutely.
It's important that we realize that we're human, you know? It's no matter what gender you are, no matter anything, we are human. We make mistakes, we get emotional, we experience these things, but that's what life is. And I believe it's super important to be emotional, to understand where your ancestors come from, your history, all these different patternings. What do you reflect and what have you maybe gotten rid of? It's kind of a fun game sometimes. I'm still figuring things out, especially this past week. Things have been kind of flying at me emotionally. I'm kind of like, where the hell is this coming from? And I realize that it's like maybe patterns from my mom or even my grandma who's been gone for a few years. And you just really have to pay attention, but again, not get caught up in, oh, that makes me bad. You know, I did something wrong. Let me punish myself. Instead, it's acknowledgement, bringing something to light, understanding and saying, it's okay. I'm human. I'm allowed to have these feelings. I look at them. I can heal from them, maybe find something more productive and then move on.
Yeah, that's the beauty of being human, right? Is that we feel things and we do have the ability to adjust and pivot in those ways. I think something that was super hard on me in the beginning when I was first learning about how to find balance was that I blamed my mom a lot, or my parents, my family. I was like, why didn't you guys teach me this? Why didn't I know? Why am I just now learning that maybe I need to take time to meditate during the day, or maybe I need to take time to do this and that. And I think that throughout my journey, I just kind of stopped and I was like, yo, they're human. They're human. They don't have the answer. There's literally no rule book. There's no rule book on how to do this. And once I kind of, realized that, it kind of made it more beautiful for me.
I really like that, especially when we are quick to blame other people, especially our family. But when you take a step back and you're like, wait a minute, I'm the writer of my story. And now I have the knowledge that meditation works for me. So now I can utilize it in my own life, and I can show my kids and my friends and potentially teach my parents. And so there's so much power in breaking those generational curses. And I don't like to say curses, but generational habits. To some extent it can be a curse, but it can change with you. it can change with you today, no matter what, especially when it comes to embodying like something, for instance, something as simple as eating healthy. We did not eat healthy growing up. We went to like McDonald's, or my grandmother cooked fried foods and this and that. And sorry, I'm pivoting the conversation a little bit. And when I got older, I was always a sick kid with my stomach, and I was like, "What's going on?" And when I went to the doctor, they were like, "You should eat healthier." And I was blaming my parents. I was like, "Why did you make me eat this stuff, or why did you not teach me these things?" But that's what they knew.
Yeah.
So they just picked up on that and kept it going. And now my diet has completely changed. I help my mom and my dad with certain things, and for my future children, I can tell them, you can have some fun and indulge in these things, but this is what you need for your body to nourish everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's tons of examples, but that was one that just came up to mind for me.
To touch on that a little bit, I think, again, something that I had to really learn and be more, I guess, soft with is that culturally, that is our, that the foods that we eat, we share a lot of love with food, and our patterns for the way and the things that we eat they come from, our generations in the back or in the past. So fried foods and other things, we could go back to slavery, and it could, we could talk about the scraps that, we were given and the things that were passed down to us from there. It's all our history. And I've realized that there's again, a gratitude that needs to be there. Like, I'm so grateful that, my family, my great 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 grandmother had, the ability to pass down food with love, or pass down these habits with love. But now I'm finding the strength to, change that for myself and for my daughter.
Yeah. Wow.
And I love how you're able to show appreciation and gratitude, knowing that that's how it was in the past. That's all they had, that's all they knew. And you are able to have that, but then say, okay, well, this is a different time period. I'm in a different place. I'm a different person. I can still pass on these things with love and appreciation and gratitude, but I can do it in my own way. And then your daughter can do it in her own way, and so on and so forth. And I think that is the most amazing thing, because we don't have to be stuck in that past. We have the ability to take things that work for us, leave what doesn't behind, and begin to build something better for ourselves and future generations.
Yeah. And most importantly, ourselves. No matter what the habit is, breaking habits, relearning things, and it's easier said than done, but it teaches you more gratitude of yourself and your strength. And even in those times of being vulnerable, because my family would joke on me and be like, "Oh, here comes Jasmine with her salad." And I'm like, we all need this salad, and now, come on now. And now everyone has their salad, and, things have changed. It took years, and we're still learning, but I don't know. We have so much power within us. And that's one of the biggest things I always preach to my clients, my friends, my sisters, anyone. We have so much power. The power of your mindset can do so much for you. Like, this year has been very trying for a lot of us, but I've seen a trend with people that have a more, I don't want to say positive, because there's a lot of connotation with that, but they're very hopeful, and they see the strength, and they see that they're able to, what you go through, you grow through what you go through, or however that saying goes, versus people that are kind of like, woe is me, this is the shittiest year and I'm done. And a lot of these people are given the same hand, and you just see that difference of lack of like overall balance and taking care of themselves and maintaining a healthy, nurturing mindset.
Yeah, totally agree. Balance comes with, intention setting and showing gratitude to what you had in the past, but also knowing that there may be a better way to move for you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess going back to this question, what has kind of helped you with this year? Because I feel like we've all had to pivot a lot. I feel like each month you have to change something or something else pops up. So what has helped you in this ever moving climate of 2020?
The biggest thing, and again, I want to stress that the last year and a half, I've went through changes as far as like my body with motherhood and learning that and relearning that and then relearning that. My schedule, just trying to balance because I work full time as well. So being a business owner, an employee, a mother, a lover, like it's been a lot. But for me, my favorite thing has been what I call a power hour. I take an hour in the morning before my daughter wakes up, and I will spend 30 minutes moving my body, whether that be with a workout or just walking the dog or anything like that. I move my body as best I can. And then the second 30 minutes to um, meditate, pray, give gratitude, give thanks, um, personal development sometimes. And that, like taking that time, especially in the morning, I used to try and, because I love sleep. I think we all love sleep. So I used to try to do it and be like, I'll do it at night. But it's so different in the morning when you can start your day as the sun is rising and getting to its highest point. It's like you're doing the same for yourself. You're getting yourself in the point to be able to take on the day. So and that's something again that I had to learn and relearn because I really tried to fight not getting up early, and especially with a newborn, they get up early, girl. They get up so early. So I had to really, really fight that and just be like, yo, this is a necessity. This isn't something that I can gamble with. I have to do this for myself. And if not, I notice a difference when I don't do my power hour for a long period of time. So that's been the biggest helper for me, especially in 2020. Just navigating the heaviness of this year. I needed that. And I can't stress enough how, like, if I could get on my soapbox and preach on something, it's going to be a morning power hour.
Freaking love that. And I love how you break it up and you change it, because I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, okay, well, that means 30 minutes of exercise, so I have to like kick my ass to do this, and 30 minutes of just sitting with my legs crossed, and then they fall asleep and then I can't concentrate. But it's very fluid, it's very adaptable, and there's many different things you can do. And I love how you pick different things just depending on like how you feel or how you want to move, and that's amazing. And I especially love the rising with the sun. I kind of like picture that in my mind. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. I absolutely love that. I agree with doing that. And for me in my experience, like I do similar things, but I used to always, like when I was first learning, I would always have trouble like, oh, okay, I have to make time for this, but that's such a long time. Am I going to get other things done? And I would just stress about that.
Mm-hmm.
But once you block that space out for yourself, when you can actually calm down, everything else becomes so much easier in a way. You become more clear, you know what your next steps are, you're more able to be productive, create a schedule, do these things. So I think that is an amazing thing. And get up on that soapbox and preach about the power hour, because that is freaking amazing. I'll stand up there with you.
It's the best. And honestly, in the beginning, I think I hated it so much because I used to like really try and kick my ass in that 30 minutes of working out. And I realized like, yo, it's not serving me to end up, doing the most to try and like break a sweat or anything like that. That's not what it's about. It's about, moving your body and doing what you feel you need and just making that time for yourself. And it really does set the tone for the rest of your day. It sets the tone for my mood, especially. And again, just being able to, like you said, rise with the sun, it makes me feel so much better. So soapbox, do that power hour, y'all.
I think we should challenge our listeners for 1 week. Schedule in your power hour, and after that week, post, message us, let us know what it felt like, and then probably continue to do it.
Yes. And one thing I love that you said, Jasmine, is that you don't yourself have to do the most anymore. Or like because I used to do that too, where I was like, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do this intense workout. Which when you think about it, it's kind of extreme. Like I literally just woke up. Why am I doing all this stuff? And just going with the flow, do yoga, go for a walk. You're still moving your body. And you don't have to, for some reason, we as humans, we're either all or nothing with no matter what we do. And if you want to work out and do, a HIIT workout, do it. That's up to you. That again, be fluid with what your needs and wants are. Listen to your body, but don't be hard on yourself when you're kind of like, I kind of just want to sit and do yoga or just go for a walk with the dog. That's okay. That's
Yeah,
a.
heck yeah. I used to really try to, what was the program? It's by Insanity. I used to try to do Insanity every morning, 5:30 a.m. because I thought that it was, okay, you're making that face, but again, I have a baby. She gets up at the crack of dawn. But no, I used to try and like, I thought that that's what I needed. I thought I needed to kick my ass every day in order to, say that I worked out. But then some days, if I wake up and I feel like just taking the dog around the block is my exercise, cool. That's what we're doing. It's really about, like you said, doing what is best for you and listening to your body. Once you start doing it, you'll get more in tune with what you need. Some days it's yoga. Some days it is Insanity. Some days it's just taking the dog out. Some days it's literally just sitting on the floor stretching. You just do whatever your body needs in that moment. And same thing with the other 30 minutes. Some days I pray. Some days I meditate. Some days I am in a book doing personal development. It's whatever you feel. It's you scheduling the time for yourself.
Yes, yes, and yes. I love that. Gosh. I need to do that because I didn't do it today. I told on myself. But and another thing, as far as meditation, it'll come with time too. I used to think that meditation was you sit and you and it's this, and you're just one with and you're one with nature, and the room becomes like this beautiful place. But for me, I journal sometimes, and sometimes all I do is sit and have coffee and just stare off my balcony. Sometimes I do go on YouTube and do a guided meditation, and sometimes I just do a mixture of all three of those. But I think it's very important to prioritize your mental health during this time because, again, Michaela and I always preach about the mind, body, and spirit. They're all correlated. I always think of like the circle trifecta. And when you take care of that health and you find that balance, which balance isn't like a one-time thing where it's like, okay, at this time I do this and I do that. It's a combination of everything that works for you.
Totally agree. It's whatever season you're in, whatever you need. Like I said, I was in a season of singleness at one point. It was just me, and then it was me and a man, and now it's me, a man, and a baby. And so it's just so many different life changes. You just really have to find that balance in that moment. It's like you said, it's not one and done. It's linear. It changes. It is a necessity now, at least. And I can feel instantly when I'm off, when I'm, not fully myself, or I call it myself, but not fully balanced. And yeah, so like you said, Michaela, I challenge all of your listeners, do that power hour for a week, schedule that time for yourself. Let me know, let us know how it goes. And if you need any help, you can find me on Instagram and DM me at Operation Be Well.
Yes. And if you need any tips or guidance, we're here for that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so before we conclude things, we always ask our speaker to do 3 takeaways. What's something you would want our audience to just utilize in their life for balance, health, wealth, and happiness? You know, what resonates with you that they should know?
Well, again, up on my soapbox here, that power hour. And I'm going to count that as 2. Spend time in the morning moving your body. Spend time in the morning, meditating, praying, do whatever feels best for you. You mentioned journaling. Journaling in me has always been it's like a force for me. I have to force myself to journal. And then I realized I could just voice memo it. I could just, speak, and that gives me life. So you could do that too. Whatever resonates best with you, find time to do that. I really, really preach about doing it in the morning as the sun is rising. That's the best time for me. And then 3rd takeaway, balance is linear. It's not a one and done thing. As you move through your life, you will notice that you need different things and that things change. And then, like you said, we had no idea that 2020 was going to be like this. We had no idea that it was going to require more from us in this way. So just remember that balance is linear.
Thank you.
I love all of that. I also want to add that it's okay to assess yourself and say, like, what are my daily habits and what's resonating with me and what isn't, what's working and what's not, and why am I still keeping these habits? Is it something that, my parents did, or I called on from a friend? Why am I still doing it? And what can I implement that will work for me? No matter if it's for your mind, body, and spirit, eating habits, taking care of yourself mentally, prioritizing your health, all of those things. So that's another thing I would encourage our listeners to do, is just sit in a self assess what works and what doesn't work for you right now.
Definitely. What about you, Michaela?
Just everything. Take time for yourself. Remember that you are human. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be emotional. But like Jasmine said, do an assessment. Sit back. What are the patterns that you are, practicing? Where do they come from? Do they serve you? If they don't, can you kind of morph them into something that does? And always remember that you have your entire life to continue to grow and evolve and improve. It doesn't need to be on New Year's Day, when it's the first of the year, new year, new me. Like, throw that out the window. Every day is a new opportunity to change, to grow, to learn. So take each day as an opportunity for that.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned it before, but where can everyone find you on, like, websites, Instagram, all that good stuff?
Yes. So I am on Instagram at Operation Be Well. That's also my website name, www.operationbewell.com. I'm on Twitter too. You can find me at, I think it's Operation Be Well. Yes, it's Operation Be Well on Twitter as well. Find me, message me. I literally love hearing from you guys. Like I said, I want to hear about your power hour. So let me know how that goes. And yeah.
Yes, and I will say, if you're especially a mother and you're looking for balance and you don't know where to go to, Jasmine is your girl, guys. She's absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the invite, guys.
Of course, being with us. I loved it. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jazz.
Of course.